March 8th, 2017. Today marks the day we celebrate International Women's Day, originally called International Working Women's Day. Who knew that? Oh, you did?
I saw it on Facebook this morning.
This day is celebrated on March 8th every year. I didn't even know that. I had no idea. And it commemorates the movement for women's rights. Does anyone care about that or like the history behind it?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to give you a little bit of it. Just to let you know.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
I thought that was a table topic question.
Does anyone care? Yeah. I didn't know much about this day, so I did a little research on the internet, and I came across a site called internationalwomensday.com, and they have a lot of information on this day. So if you want to find out more, go to internationalwomensday.com. Thank you. Okay, according to this website, International Women's Day is a global day celebrating social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. International Women's Day, or IWD, has been observed since the early 1900s. So, this made me research also if there was an International Men's Day, and there is. How many of you guys knew that? Sharon?
Every day.
Yeah, so there is. And
Wow.
as you said, some of you probably already think every day is International Men's Day. But there's actually an International Men's Day, and it's designated for November 19th. So everyone, mark that down on your calendars. November 19th, International Men's Day. But that was brought into existence in 1992. So 90 years after International Women's Day, by this guy, Thomas Oster. It sounded like someone was left out, so he needed to make his own day. So, however, even though all my research went to both days, this day is about International Women's Day, so the table topics will revolve around women as much as I could do with my questions. So, first question. Women, can't live with them, can't live without them. Have you ever heard of this phrase? Has everyone heard of this phrase, or has no one heard of this phrase? Okay, thanks. So I could ask anyone this question, and it'll be good. Okay, it's a phrase used to express frustration with someone or something that the speaker ultimately cannot give up. So, MJ, do you agree with this statement? Why or why not?
Thank you, Wayne. I think if I understand correctly, the question is, women, can you live with them or can't live without them? Is that the question?
Do you agree with that phrase?
You're asking a woman, can men live without us? And the answer is no. Thank you. No. But all silliness aside, yes, the answer is no. Yes, the answer is no. Since the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, God made Adam and was not happy. He's like, man, I'm bored with this guy. I gotta make someone better or equal, I guess. So Eve came along, and guess what? That's where it all started. Man and women come together. And what's interesting to me is that equality is something that we should all, I believe in. And the term feminist is so strange because it's the belief in equality between men and women. But why does feminism carry such a negative connotation when it's just believing in equality? Isn't believing in equality something any normal human being should believe in? So, then again, are we all feminists? Something to think about.
I don't know. That's my answer. That's my answer. Okay. This is a man's world. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. Okay. So
You've never heard it, Martin.
this song is sung by James Brown, American musician. And he had released this title back in 1966. So, from when you could remember, how has music changed in your lifetime? Doug.
Thank you for that inspired question. Because as the oldest fart in the room, I've seen music change vastly. I remember as a youngster listening to hillbilly ballads that really sucked. You know, they had all the structure, a lot of people liked it, but when you listen to it, it's like, oh, this guy's not talking to me. Fast forward came the Beatles. I was a youngster when the Beatles came out. I heard everything the Beatles ever did ad nauseum before I liked music. So it's all back there, but I didn't appreciate it until forward another notch, another group did their interpretation of the Beatles, and I heard it for the first time. And I went, wow, that's what everybody was getting off on. They were talking about things that were important to people. And that hasn't changed, fellow Toastmasters. The fact is, the reason we dig music is because it's repetitive, looking at something that we feel is important. You know, I used to be very fond of country western music until it became very complicated in pop. You know, back when it was just a man singing about what he felt in his heart. You know, it was like, oh yeah, he's talking to me. Because, you know, we as men, on Women's Day, the fact of the matter is that we aren't very good. You might say we're thwarted at this thing called emotion. So when we have a way of looking at emotion objectively, even Martin can do this. We can look at emotions objectively, and we can say, okay, this is why I feel like crap every time she treats me like you know what. But in Leslie, it's like, no, this is a man's world. Look at this. Look at the salaries. Now it's getting better, and I hope before that I am too old that we will have parity in the workforce between women and men, because the fact is it takes both of us to survive. Mr. Tabletop Mix Master.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, as a man or a woman, it's chivalrous to buy a drink or a meal for someone that you're trying to impress. So, has a stranger ever bought you a drink without you knowing it? Sharon. Okay, if yes, then what was your response? And then if not, then just imagine someone has. And then what your response would be if that was the case. Sharon.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Mix Master. Fortunately or unfortunately, I was not a big partier growing up. I didn't hang out in nightclubs. I went just a few times, and during those times I didn't have any drinks in front of me except for maybe a soda or something like that. But if I were to have someone buy me a drink, I'd probably look dreamingly into his eyes if I was a single woman. Or if it was another female buying me a drink, I'd probably look at her as to wonder why she's buying me a drink and what's the purpose behind it. What are your intentions, young lady? But I would be flattered nonetheless. Anytime you can go out and don't have to spend your own money on something is always a good date or always a good day out. I've often been with people at my table who just by accident left their wallets at home or left their purses at home, and then all of us are scrambling trying to pay for their meal or pay for their drink. So I would take it as a sign of flattery if someone were to buy a drink for me, and I would definitely say thank you and send the bartender back and tell them that it's much appreciated. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay, so let's pretend I just got out of a relationship, which I did. And let's say, hypothetically, I was looking to get back into dating again, which I am. Is it our similarities or our differences that attract us to each other? James.
So I've thought about this before, and I think it's a little bit of both, right? People say opposites attract, but not entirely. Right? You have to have some common ground on core values, right? Core ethics. Even if you date and get really involved in a relationship, do you like kids? Like things that could be icebreakers down the road. You need to understand and be on the same page with that person. Other than that, doesn't really matter. For me, I really like music, right? I need to be someone who likes the music I like, because if I show them a song, I'm like, oh, this is the best song, and they don't get excited, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out because I'm excited about this, right? And it really plays into their interests, what excites them. If you can't connect on that level, you can't really bond over activities you enjoy, right? So other things that are not as deep, like, I don't know, fashion is a new thing, or how the person dresses or whatever, that's fine, right? Their outward appearance, I wouldn't dress like that if I was a woman. That's okay. If you can look past it, yeah, I think it adds some mystery, it adds some variety in a couple. But, again, gotta be the same person or similar on the inside, what matters to you. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, James. Okay, so I had to look up some additional questions, or think of additional questions. So along with my research of International Women's Day and International Men's Day, I looked up some table topics questions online. And I came across this girls' night out question. So I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to take some of these because I think it's... Well, actually, I just took one because I didn't want it to be like two. Some of them were like inappropriate for Toastmasters. But I took one and I thought I would twist it. And so the question is, Aaron, would you rather have women ogle or oogle at you or not look at you at all?
Ooh.
Wow.
Stare at me, baby. Embrace it. Love it. Okay. They've been telling you all your life to find Mr. Right. And when you find that brother, you hold on to him.
Right.
So, right. So, I want them to get right or get left. In all honesty, there is a mixture of both. However, I feel like I do not appreciate when women, like, they're too thirsty. Be chaste. Be chaste. Allow yourself to be chaste. I feel like there's a happy medium. Position yourself for me to do my thing and court you. That's when they'll look at you in the eye and smile, and that is the subtle invitation. Now you can come correct. You may proceed. Simon says. However, but if they doing all of this, I'm gonna feel violated. But at the same time, if we have someone who, is too stuck up or seems unapproachable, what do I need with that? I'm not necessarily desperate, so I don't have to worry about that. I know a lot of times we can get thwarted by a woman's looks or aesthetics, and sometimes that helps with the case. Like if I know that all these men have been trying to get at you all night, and no, you can't buy me a drink. No, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to enjoy it. Then I can appreciate that. And then for me, I hope to see you again. And I hope you ignore me. But if you're just looking for, all of this, I don't really like that too much, because I can appreciate a more classy and exclusive situation, because I am going to think about the time when you my woman and I picked you off and you doing all this looking. or we've just broken up and it's the gray area. I don't want you looking. I want to know that even how you operate your program is from a place of prestige. Thank
Thank you, Aaron. Very animated. I might try that myself.
Selling books.
Yeah, I'll buy one of those. Okay, so
I'll take two.
okay, I don't have anything to lead into this question, but I think we need to do some more table topics because it's like only 12:30. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Sarah, would you rather live for a week in the past or a week in the future? I got this from online too. I did not come up with this one.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Well, I think I would rather live in the future. Okay, so in the past, I'll try to tie this into the theme of the day. Maybe it was a little bit more difficult or it has been more difficult for women. So maybe that would be humbling to experience living in the past, depending on what decade, make me appreciate how far we've come now. If someone bought me a drink at a bar, I would accept it, but I would have to know where it came from, so I wouldn't be drugged or have to be cognizant of that. I don't know. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, is that good? Okay, sorry about that question. Sorry. I'll come up with